Troubadours is about the singer-songwriter scene in LA in the late 60s and early 70s. This kind of group of people, this kind of community of artists that came together and inspired each other and really kind of changed the course of popular music. My name's Morgan Neville, and I'm director of Troubadours. We're playing in the US documentary competition. People talk a lot about the climax and the anarchy of the late 60s and everything that was happening culturally, but people don't really talk much about the hangover. And this kind of interregnum period between the 60s and the 70s is where Troubadours takes place, and it's kind of when the culture decided to take its breath. That's when this new music came in, and it was something that was more intimate and personal and reflective than what had come before. The Troubadour Club is a old club that's been around for 50 years now on Santa Monica Boulevard. Everybody came through the Troubadour. People who had never played before publicly in America, for instance, Elton John, played to an empty club on a Tuesday at the Troubadour, and by Saturday he was a star. It was the kind of place where that could happen. The spine of the film is the relationship between James Taylor and Carole King, and they both represent these two different poles of what the singer-songwriter could be. Intimacy was something of a marching order for us from the beginning. We tried to make the film feel like you were seeing these people, sitting there with them, and they're telling you stories. And when they're playing piano, you're sitting right next to them on the bench or just a few feet away. That was the whole design of it, that it felt very organic and very close. The project came about because James Taylor and Carole King got back together after 40 years to go back and play an anniversary show at the Troubadour as a fundraiser. And it got them thinking about what was so special about that time. They have such a deep and abiding love and respect for each other. It's something that's so selfless, and seeing how encouraging they are of each other. We focus on James Taylor and Carole King, but beyond that, Jackson Browne, Chris Christopherson, Elton John, J.D. Souther, Joni Mitchell. The music does tell so much of the story. Sometimes when I make music documentaries, I put together mixtapes beforehand. I almost try and tell the story in a mixtape before I even start shooting. You can let the songs carry the story, carry the emotion, and we were blessed to have this incredible selection of songs to work with. Los Angeles is one of my pet subjects. I've made a couple of documentaries about it. I grew up here, and I feel like people sometimes scoff at the idea of LA history and LA culture, and I think there are these amazing stories. And Troubadours tells one of these incredible stories of this really fertile period that changed music everywhere.